I've known Walter a long time. I guess I first met him when I was president of City Council, and then I became mayor. And he is what is known as a genuine friend, a man of the greatest integrity of anybody I've ever known, almost beyond comprehension. He's just so honest and so fair. There's a term that people use, an icon, he's that. Then there's another term, legend in your own time, and he's that. You know, you have people who make an indelible impression on others. I think anybody that had the opportunity to really be with Walter for any length of time, or to talk with Walter or listen to Walter, his philosophies, benefited from that.
The unique thing about Walter, and the thing that among his many qualities that's so attractive to me, is his concern for the city. And there are almost no people around that occupies a major part of their motivation and day-to-day concerns. And so A, with the motivation, B, with the knowledge that he has, and C, with his intelligence and integrity. He's really a unique institution. And I don't know that many cities are lucky enough to have such a person.
Walter keeps turning up in my life. I've known him for almost 50 years, from the time I was working at Hochschild Cones as a high school student, and then certainly his role in terms of the city school system, and when I was a student in the city school system, but then also in terms of a number of projects that we have pursued together, and then his role on the Sondheim Commission, which impacted public education across the state of Maryland, and then finally to see him on the State Board of Education, where we worked together for 8 years. And of course today, my relationship with Walter as a mentor, as a person I call for advice on a constant basis, and also feeling like an auxiliary member of his family because of John and Ellie and Janet, his wife, who was just a wonderful lady.
My father is pretty well known in the city, and he's been involved civically his entire life. And I think that's very important to him and his sense of responsibility to the city. But I think the most important thing to my father was my mother. That this was a great marriage, and she was very shy, and she says he helped her so much in this way that he brought her out. They shared this wonderful sense of humor, and they just had this connection that you might not think they'd have, because they were very different kinds of people, but it worked. This was a real great love. And I think my mother supported him enormously in ways that you might not even see. But, it's all those parties she went to that she didn't want to go to.
The other thing that occurs to me, that there are a whole lot of interests of his that are private, that don't seem to ever, which don't have any connection to his public life. He and I both know enough English Romantic poetry, I feel we haven't done it for years, to recite it back at each other, to do Byron orally, and perhaps Coleridge and Keats. The other thing is, there was a point, and he hasn't come out recently, where he had a real interest in astronomy. I think what's left of that is optical gadgets. He's got a small telescope at home, which he uses now, I think, mostly to check up buildings. For a long time, when he was at Charles Center Inner Harbor Management, he had it, in fact, in his office, and he and some of his colleagues would check out book builder progress on various building projects by honing in. I don't know whether the contractors knew they were being watched or not.
Walter's done in his lifetime what any 2 or 3 great leaders might do collectively put together. He's the man who desegregated the public schools in Baltimore City. He's the man who I would say is most responsible for the incredible development in our Inner Harbor. For a man in his lifetime to be able to marry the development of our infrastructure, the physical side, with the incredible nurturing of the human side of our society, he's a remarkable man and has made a remarkable difference. And we need more of that. And hopefully those of us in the generations that come can display maybe 10 or 20 or 30% of the conscience that Walter Sondheim has brought.
So what you spend now, let's just take that as the point of departure. Ladies, still.
My colleagues and I were interested in naming the Public Affairs Scholars Program after Walter Sondheim because he embodies those values we consider important. He's a visionary leader. He cares about children and families and education, the city, and he's inspiring. His life is inspiring. We want to make sure that children who've not been born will one day have a chance to hear this story and to say, I want to be a Sondheim Scholar, meaning I want to make a difference. We're putting something in place that will be here long after we've all gone.
I think I look back on a series of lucky circumstances. I really do. Of being in a place at the right time. Somebody else has prepared the place for me. And I think that's what I've seen in my life. I've been very lucky. I enjoy being with people, and I like them. And I like to listen to them, and I like to, I find a lot of heroes around. You don't have to find all these great titanic heroes. You find a lot of heroes in small ways.